try to take us through their life situation. What do they go through? What is that one challenge that you need to hear from them? Do you know all types of disability? Today I have a guest, actually, until she told me the type of her disability, I kept on asking myself, the better thing, I'm too friendly with Google. I have Madame Goretti with me. I don't know, it is an interesting one to have her here today. You're most welcome to this show, and I am kindly humbled to have you here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Susan.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Fine. Eh?
Yes.
You're going to briefly take us through your name and the type of your disability.
Okay. My name is Goretti Biomire. I'm a lecturer at Makerere University Business School, and I'm a very passionate disability inclusion advocate. And I've done a lot of work in the disability movement and industry. So my type of disability, of course, many times people look at me and they're like, she's saying she's disabled. Yes, some disabilities are invisible, but I was born with a cleft lip and palate. I'm sure you have seen those children who like some, okay, most of the time it can be corrected with surgery, so it can be corrected with surgery. But at the time I was born, it was not easy. It was the time of war, the Bush War. I was born in Hoima, and back then movement was not easy during the time of war. So I have had 4 surgeries to correct this situation. And because I was born with cleft lip and palate, I started speaking at the age of 5. So before that, I could not speak. And actually, when I was young, people called me dumb and all sorts of things. Anyway, when I was born with that condition, I was operated in Mulago in 1983. Then my next operation was at the Aga Khan Hospital in Nairobi in 1984. And then I had, those are the major operations. And then I had another operation at Mulago. It was with a team of doctors from Holland in 1995. And then my last operation was in South Africa in 2007. So over the years when I was growing up, I had to undergo a lot of speech and language therapy. So I attended speech and language therapy in Mulago in the early 90s throughout. So it was able to help me to develop my speech. And then, of course, the speech was nasal. So those operations in 1995 and especially the one in 2007, the one in 2007 was funded by MOVES, and I'm grateful for the MOVES management. It really helped on my speech. The operations, the cleft lip and palate also has the complication of the teeth, you know, because the person who has a cleft lip and palate, you're born without a bone actually in the roof of your mouth, or it's just partial. So I have had to spend, my parents had to spend a lot of money on my minor surgery, dental surgery.
Take me through, you had 4 operations.
Yes.
Was it a must you have to have 4 operations, or you would have one and it's all done? Or it's a must you supposed to have 1, 2, 3, 4?
No, it was not a must that I had to have the 4 operations, but basing on that condition, and remember, there are certain things, especially with the bones, that cannot be done when the child is younger. So sometimes you will have to wait for someone to grow so that you can perform other procedures. Yes, but now the technology, the medicine has grown over the years, the medicine fraternity, so there are new advancements. I think one operation is enough, but back then it was quite very difficult and different.
Okay, you're going to take me through, me and someone on UBC, you're going to take us through the cause. What would be the cause of a child being born with?
It's not really, Well, sometimes people say that folic acid, like when there's limited folic acid, the mother doesn't take enough folic acid during their pregnancy, that's one of the causes. But really, I think it just happens, just like when someone is born with a condition. Thank you.
Okay, first take me through high school. When being a child, when did you notify that I was born with a condition?
No, I knew I was born with that condition as early as nursery, because I remember at school the children used to tease me. They said, "Hey, you speak different. You don't speak well." So I knew from early as nursery, and I was with my brother. He's called Nicholas. So he was in an older class. So whoever would bully me, so I would just go back and report to him, and he would just cane all of them. He would just beat them up. And then in my primary, I went to the Magunga Primary School, and because of that, I was very defensive. My earlier years in primary, I would fight a lot because I felt like really I had to defend myself, and if anyone said anything about me, I would come no, like, okay, my brother is not there to help me beat them up, or now I have to defend myself. So I was quite very aggressive in my early primary. But as time went on, the school was an inclusive school. The teachers were quite very understanding, and because of my complications, I was almost like as if I was in the day school. Every 2 weeks, I had braces, I had metals that were fitted in my mouth, which needed changing and doing all sorts of things. My actually at that time, the late Dr. Samson Seka, he started the hospital, Seka Foundation Hospital. So it had the state-of-the-art equipment, and he would bring in doctors from America. So that's where I used to have my therapies and mini surgeries from. So every 2 weeks, I really had to come back home, and really they would do treatment and all sorts of things.
Okay, let's look at some of the challenges you face as a person. Maybe they can be someone's weakness, and at the end of the day, they are going to learn to take it from you.
Yeah, of course, when you don't speak like anyone else, when you're not okay, people say you're not normal, you don't speak normally. So sometimes it has been a challenge, and even then, the self-confidence. This is something that has really come over time. It was not something that was there, because I remember when I was growing up, my grandfather used to call me all sorts of names, and it really used to hurt. So this thing kind of like affected me for quite some time. But as I grew up, because I had a supportive family, and even the school that I went to, I had friends, people are very supportive. So somehow I ended up overcoming. I found myself in a situation that I've overcome. So, and because I could not speak, people thought they kind of like rubbished me off. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let's I just go to school for the sake. So I knew earlier on that I had to prove myself that yes, if I was born in this condition, I can still make it. I can still be as good as anyone else. So in my secondary, I performed well. I got a government sponsorship. My parents were ready to pay for me on private. So I got a government sponsorship. So I studied my 3 years at university on government. And then it didn't stop at that. I also got a first class when I finished university, and I was retained to teach. So now when I was retained to teach, well, we had interviews, and then they were like, now she can't speak well, how is she going to teach? And even me, I was also nervous. I'm like, I can't speak well. Now I'm going to go in front of students and teach them. So it was not easy, but I'm very glad that Professor Waswa Balunga, he believed in me, and he said that, no, hire them. Whether they can talk or not, please hire them. So we're hired, I started working, and then I approached him. I told him about my problem. So and I told him that this thing can be corrected if I went to South Africa. And then the school gave me a grant. I was able to go for the operation, and I came back when the speech had really improved. Yes. At first it was very nasal, but now I came back when it had improved.
Okay, we have lecturer, right?
Yes.
We have lecturer Barati from MOBS, and if you're not so closely to her, and if you don't ask her the type of her disability, it's one that you cannot know if it's corrected. When she told me I have a disability, I kept asking myself, maybe she just works, you remember those questions? Do you work for person with disability? Are you person with disability? And I'm like, but she is fine. And then she was like, no, my disability, you will not see it until I tell you myself. Okay, this is the life I live, just in case you join. My name is Susan, and we have a lecturer from MOBS. She didn't tell us what you teach.
Well, I teach IT and computing. Apart from being a lecturer, I'm also the team director for the Disability Resource and Learning Center at MOVES, a unit that I pushed for, and then it was established. It caters to staff and students with disabilities at MOVES, providing reasonable adjustments and accommodations, among other activities.
Okay, that feels so great to hear institutions have departments and give a hand to person with disability so that they have everything they want, so that they're not left out.
Yes.
In case there's an activity, they also have to be part of it.
Yes.
And my name is Susan. She is Goretti. She is a lecturer, and her disability is that one that you might not be knowing it that much. To start with, if I don't go for an operation, what happens?
If you don't go, because with a cleft lip and palate, you're born when there's a cut in between the lips and the nose up to the side. So you can't, actually, when I was growing up, when I was young, I couldn't breastfeed because of that. So when it's not corrected, the child cannot eat. The child cannot eat. Everything they eat comes back.
Wow.
And then there are a lot of infections, because with food going up to the nasal cavity, it's quite very delicate. So it always has to be corrected.
Okay, let's look at a parent in Nakapiripiriti.
Yes.
Do you think these services, or do you think these parents can access operations?
Well, yes, they can. We have, I think you have heard of Smile Train. So we have Katalemwa Cheshire. They do help. They do constructive surgery for children born with cleft lip and palate. So they go out in the communities, in those hard to reach areas, and they get those children and they perform surgery. Even Kosu in Entebbe, that hospital, they also have outreach teams. They go out to those hard to reach areas and look for those children, and then bring them to Entebbe and have surgeries for them.
Okay, that was one question that left me asking myself, how about someone who's out there, how do they get help? I'm going out for break and I still have Madam Goretti. You should be Madam, because at school we call Madam. I still have Madam Goretti from MOBS, and where I'm seated here, I'm at Fairway Hotel. Fairway is at the city center. You can Google, you can reach out to them for any service you want, provided it's a hotel. You can reach out to them. And for now, I'm going out for break. You're still on the life I live. Okay, I still have Madam Margaret.
Goretti.
Goretti. The word Goretti and Margaret sounds the same. When I used to be a child, I used to think that the same names. So, okay. She's from MOBS and she has a disability that you keep looking at and you feel like, but when they're corrected, you can't even know. Like right now we are seated here, someone is going to ask, what is that lady doing at the life I live? This show is for person with disability. What is she doing at person with disability? You're going to take me through life at school. Do your students know you're a person with disability or they don't?
No, my students don't know that I have a disability.
They don't know.
Yes, they don't know. Even most of the staff don't. Actually, they wonder, but you say you're representing persons with disabilities, you don't look disabled.
The same way I sound like, really? You're representing a person with disability when you don't have a disability?
Yes.
So your students don't know.
Yes, my students don't know.
Okay.
Mm.
It is good for people to get engaged, to get to know this and this, this and that. I want that one successful story in your life that might have changed or is going to change someone out there. Let's be a person with disability. Why? That you feel can change someone's life, and this person is going to pick a lesson out of it.
The success story, my life alone was just a success story. Imagine someone who could not speak up to the age of 5. So I started school late. I started school at the age of 5 because earlier on, between 1 year and 5 years, I could hardly speak. So I started speaking late, and I also started school late. So I didn't spend many years in nursery because I started late and I had to go to P1. So I started school late. I couldn't speak, but speech and language therapy, I was able to speak. And then I started school, but even then with school, I was in and out of hospital. My primary, there are certain terms which I did not study because I was on an operation, I was sick, and things like that. So I went on to my the operation in 1995 really helped so much. So I didn't suffer as much when I was in secondary as it was in primary. So I was able to study, but deep down sometimes I had, those voices kept on coming, the negativity, you are not normal, you don't speak well. So it kind of sometimes affected my self-esteem, and in a certain way, I used to really hate myself so much. So, but I had friends, I had people who would encourage me. I had my family, my brothers, my sisters. So I was able to pull through. So with the right people within your circle, with the right encouragement, you are able to pull through. So there are many people, someone will just come and throw a very hateful word at you, someone can just make a comment, and then deep down you are broken, you are crushed, and then you feel, this thing that people say, you're not normal, you don't speak like us, you don't speak well, those things really sometimes when you're going to say something to someone, just think about it. What I'm going to say, is it going
if it
to
was said back to me, how
yes,
would I take it?
is it going to build this person? Will it make them happy or will it make them sad? So as a person with a disability, I really urge other persons with disability, and also over the years I have learned that sometimes you cannot control certain things or what people say or do, but in yourself you have also got to build your self-esteem. You've got to fight within yourself. Sometimes you have to ignore the comments and then you move on, and that is when you can be able to make it. Thank you.
Okay, I have just picked everything, and at the end of the day, I'm going to remind you that whatever you're going to tell someone out there, put on their shoes. If you're going to insult someone, put on their shoes. If it was you being thrown words at that same way, would it call for? Does it call for? Are you breaking, like you said, the words you're telling someone out there, are they building this person or are they breaking this person? Don't be a reason why someone has to go down to the knees and ask God, why me? be a reason why someone had to tell God, thank you for creating me, but not a reason why someone has to go down and say, God, why did I have to be me? Why did it have to be this way? You're going to take me, I want to know, most most times every woman's dream is to have a family. Are we talking to our lecturer who has a family or planning to have a family? Or it's personal? Like, Susan, this one is a
No.
personal one.
No, of course, even then when I was growing up, I used to wonder, like, will I even really get married? Will even anyone want to date me because I don't speak well? Will, yes, I had those challenges, I had those questions. Yes, but I am married.
Oh,
Yes, I'm married to one Mr. Jonathan Songo. I, we met at campus, and we've been together, I think for roughly 17 years.
17.
Yes, but we've been married for like 13 years, and we have 4 beautiful children. So he has been understanding, even sometimes when I would have situations, when I would be disappointed, when people would hurt me, I would go back, I would cry, and he would tell me, no, me, I love you the way you are, please ignore them, don't listen to them. He has been my cornerstone. He has really supported me in my work, in my profession, and everything that I do.
Everyone needs that one person who believes in you and will take you as you are.
Yes.
Even if at your worst, they will hold your hand. I also have that one person who has seen me at my worst.
Yes.
That I would cry and be like, you know what? You will make it. You will come through. People will throw words at me and it's like, no, you're better than what they think. You just need to work on what they think is not working out. Okay, she has a family. For my question has been answered. I wanted to know if she has a family, and she has also answered that. I want you to leave a word to my audience or to someone on the life I live to get to know that life doesn't stop where that camera is.
Yes. To the viewers out there, yes, much as I have a disability, I don't put it at the front. I don't put it at the front. I live my life the way I go after my goals and dreams and really try to achieve them. To the person who is living out there, the disability should not come first. You should live life the way you have to. You should have your plans, you should have your goals, you should go after them, and nothing should hinder you. Sometimes, as persons with disabilities, we tend to think of what other people will think about us, and then sometimes we create our own self-stigma. So it is quite very important. Do not listen to that, to those negative voices. Even if someone says negative to you, no. You are beautiful and wonderfully created, and God has a reason why He created you that way. Yes, we are all different. We cannot be the same. Just like you see these 5 fingers, each one has its own role. They are different, but without one finger, just missing one finger, you cannot hold a cup properly. So we are created differently, wonderfully, and we all have different roles and parts to say. Different roles and parts to say. So you should believe in yourself. You should not self-stigmatize yourself and block out the negative voices. Live your life, achieve your dreams and your goals. Thank you.
Yes, and I'm picking it from where she said, don't put your disability first. Let it be an additional statement. You have a goal in life. She just stated it right. Let your ability comes in first. Let what you want in life be there first. The disability one should be a by the way to you. You're going to achieve it in that way. And don't mind about what people call you, what people subject you to. Those who feel like putting you down, as long as you have a right mission for yourself, I promise you you're going to go out and achieve whatever you want. That's in case you have the right mindset. Of course, people will call you names. You're not going to stop them from talking about you. At the end of the day, everyone is supposed to be talked about. Where I'm seated here is Fairway Hotel. They're just within the city center. You can Google about them, check about their website for any services you want in the hotel sector. And this one program hosts person with disability. Just in case you joined and the program is coming to an end, my name is Susan Awor and the program is called The Life I Live. And in case you want to do any business, you want to be a sponsor, you want to be a partner, you want to be part of the show, you want to be hosted, kindly reach out to us, to our numbers. You're always available. We shall give you the best service. We shall host you and make you feel at home. We shall have your story too, like we had her story. And from me to you, I believe I can, you can, we can. The life I live, the life I live.
Not an if, but it's a when from